slow digesting starch that digests in the intestine hormonally, and they have protein in them. Holy crap, they're perfect. They're perfect. They're exactly what you need. Right? Lentils and beans are your best friend. Lentils, beans, proteins, and veggies, and you are super healthy. You don't need to know anything else. Nutrition's done, sold. But that's not the way it works, right? Instead, you hear about Atkins, you hear about South Beach, you hear about the caveman diet, you hear about paleo. Who can name another one I haven't named? Who can think of one?
Scarsdale, Weight Watchers.
What was it?
Scarsdale.
Yes. Weight Watchers? Yes. Who else? Who can name a diet, a fad diet you heard of? Anybody?
Cookie diet.
A Hollywood diet.
A Hollywood diet?
Apple cider diet. They're all the best things.
Right? There's all these different things. You want juicing? Someone said juicing? So, all right, now let me tell you what, let me give you my fun analogy now. So you have 3 blind men, right? And they're standing there and there's an elephant in front of them. And each one of the blind men is told to go touch the elephant. One of them goes up and touches his tusk, the other one goes up and touches his foot, and another one goes up and touches his back. They all come back and they're asked, what did you feel? And they all explain something completely different, right? They're all still talking about the elephant. That's nutrition. Everybody chooses a part of it to talk about and explains it in a very different way so that they can sell you something, so that they can sell you a book, so they can sound smart, so they can have profound new information. You guys, it is very, very simple. You're all smart enough people. You were capable of driving here tonight. You're capable of reading the binder that's in front of you. That means you're smart enough to understand that nutrition is very, very simple. It's all common sense. Eat less sugar, drink less alcohol. Don't eat things that are processed. Chew on a lot of vegetables. Eat lean proteins. Done. It's very, very, very simple. There's no reason to complicate it. There's no reason, unless you want to, unless you're into this kind of thing, there's no reason to measure your food on scales. You guys, I personally love food. I'm a big foodie. Like, I like to go to restaurants all over the country just to go to the restaurants. My wife and I share this enthusiasm for food in restaurants. Who likes steak in the room? Who's a big fan of steak? What is one of your favorite parts? What is one of the first things they give you at a great steakhouse when you sit down at the table? Yeah! And one of the best ways to judge a good steakhouse is how awesome the bread is. If they bring out a crappy loaf of bread, you're like, ooh, maybe this wasn't the right choice, right? But if they bring out like a steamy, cool, garlic clove stuffed, crusty thing of bread, you're like, ooh, this is awesome. Yes, that's one of my favorite parts about going out to the restaurant is the big loaf of bread that they're going to bring out. Whether it be like, and I love, now they're mixing it up. Now sometimes they'll bring out these little cool trays like this that have like the different kinds of cheese bread things sticking up out of them. That's awesome. I love that kind of stuff. My point is, you guys, I don't ever want you to stop doing the things that you love. I want you to start doing things around the things that you love to make those things better for you. Frequency is obviously an issue, right? You don't want to be going out to the steakhouse eating the bread every night. There's got to be moderation, and your frequency is definitely an issue, but I want you to be able to continue to do those things. So I'm going to give you a couple of really cool tips on how to be able to enjoy the things that you love. One of the things that I'm going to tell you is that your metabolism, we all have different metabolism, right? Who can tell me what metabolism is? Show of hands. You know everything. We should change seats.
Metabolism is the process whereby you put food in your mouth and how it goes through your bloodstream and body and how it nourishes the body, basically.
Kinda.
A metabolism is how fast or slow
Now you're getting it.
that works for you. So
Yes.
some people with a really fast metabolism can eat a great deal of food. They're very physically fit. Someone else who's very physically unfit may, for a lot of health reasons or age or whatever, have a slower metabolism, have to eat less.
All right, so true points, some inaccurate points, but overall your metabolism is the rate at which your bloodstream can absorb calories for muscle and energy. Right? You agree with me?
Yeah.
That's what the most simple way I can explain your metabolism to you. Now, because you have fast metabolism in your thing doesn't mean you're healthy. So that's the one thing you said, physically fit, and it's just a choice of words, but I want to make
You
sure
can
that
have thyroid cancer and have an incredible metabolism.
as a group, I want to make sure you guys understand that because you have fast metabolism, some people fall prey to a fast metabolism that equals heart disease, that equals even obesity. to people with fast metabolism because they're not paying attention to what they're doing because they don't think they need to because they look good externally. Does that make sense to everybody? My fast metabolism means that I'm not going to store fat on my body, but it doesn't mean that I'm healthy. My slow metabolism, same thing. Same thing. So the pure definition, the rate at which your blood can absorb calories from muscle and energy. So all of us have different metabolism. Now, I have another fun analogy for this one. So if I have a bucket, right, and I'm filling up my bucket, and I have a spout that's dumping a gallon a minute into my bucket. And then I have a valve that I can open up. Open up my valve and it's only letting out a half a gallon a minute. What's going to happen to my bucket? It's going to overfill, right? Because I'm only letting out half and I'm putting in a hole. So it's going to start to overfill. As soon as it starts to overfill, picture it like this. Everything that overfills is fat. No matter what it is. Everything that you overfill is fat. Does that make sense to everybody? Is that a good analogy or does it suck? Does it make sense? You guys can be honest if I need to do another one. I have 4 sisters. You can't hurt my feelings. Okay, so everything that overflows is fat. So I can't change the valve. Right? There are a couple little tricks you can do to the valve, but you can't really change it in a major way. So what do you have to do? To slow the input. Right? But you can't slow the input too much, because if you slow the input too much, then I start to eat up my muscle on my body, right? So that's called a caloric deficiency. So if I slow down too much, then the bucket starts to drain, and then I'm not doing so hot. I'm losing muscle, and I'm not doing so hot. So you have to find the balance, and we call that balance caloric pacing. So all of you have heard in the past 10 years where people like eat multiple meals throughout the day, right? Eat 6 meals a day. That's all that is, you guys, is us people who think, you know, I shouldn't say us because I disagree a little bit with it, but it's people trying to manipulate you guys into slowing down the rate at which you eat. Instead of just telling you, hey, you got slow metabolism, stop eating so damn fast. They're like, so you should do 6 meals a day, and they should be reduced. People don't speak plainly, and I think sometimes because people don't speak plainly, I think that they lose a lot of the valuable information. So really, that's what it's about. Slow down what you're putting in so your body has time to absorb it. Right? Slow down what you're putting in. How can we slow it down? This is what my nutrition philosophy is all about. Guys, this is what it's all about. So if I'm boring you, only listen to this part. Raw, green, crunchy, leafy vegetables. Anything that is crunchy in your mouth is hard for your stomach to digest. When I say hard, I just mean it takes some time. Your stomach does not compartmentalize food. I hate that word, and I use it every time I speak. It doesn't break it up, right? It doesn't have little chambers in there where it digests the bread really quick and then spits that out, and it's over here working on the carrots. It doesn't do that. It meshes it all together. So going back to my restaurant, right, to my loaf of bread, when I go into the restaurant, and I love to eat steak, and I love these breads, I know that when I go in there, I'm going to eat the bread, and I want to eat the bread. I'm going to have a glass of wine too. Can't do anything about that, but I can do something about the bread. So when I go in, I say to my hostess, and you should see the looks that I get. As we're walking to the table in these fancy restaurants, I have my hostess walking with me on the cake. Can you let my server know I need a salad? They're like, tell your server. You can't see that look in their face, but because we're at a nice restaurant, they go tell the server. So I'm like, I need a salad. If you could bring me a salad when we sit down before the bread comes. The reason we do that, guys, is because you put the raw, green, crunchy, leafy stuff in, you put the bread in, it slows down the rate of digestion of the bread. Bread is easy to chew. It almost dissolves in your mouth if it's really good bread. When that happens, that goes into your bloodstream really quickly and makes you fat.
That's a good one.
It's true. So now I take the veggies, I put them in there first, I put the bread on top of it, it slows everything down. You guys, this doesn't mean I take a leaf of spinach, whoop, loaf of bread, and I'm good. There's a ratio, guys. It would be great if it was like this loaf of bread is covered by this leaf. Good. Doesn't work. You still got to be conscientious in the way that you put things in. You still got to be smart and intelligent, have common sense, and use all that. But you can definitely enjoy the bread, and you can enjoy the bread without the negative side effects of it by putting in those raw, green, crunchy, leafy vegetables ahead of it. That's it. That's the philosophy, guys. I paid a lot of money to study nutrition at Stanford to come out of it with that. I'm mad at the end. I'm like, look, Dr. Clyde, you could have said that in the beginning. Yeah. But seriously, that's it, guys. It's that simple. As many raw, green, crunchy, leafy vegetables as you can put into your body, the more you will slow down your digestion, the more you will help out your slow or fast metabolism by giving it the things that it needs. I'm going to give you 2 more bits of information. I'm going to introduce you to this young man over here, and we're going to share a couple of stories. We're only not even 45 minutes into this, but I'm going to get you guys moving on so I can answer some questions and stuff. Don't want to keep you here too long. I know it's in the middle of the week. Okay? So another really important thing that you guys need to understand, one thing I struggle with in every program I've ever ran, and I know that Chris is struggling with it, and I know that Craig has struggled with it, I know that Jason's struggled with it, I know that we all have as trainers. When we go into these programs with people, you guys, there's the other way to speed up your metabolism is to put lean muscle mass on your body. That's the one engine. That's our permanent engine. The reason he can lose a bunch of weight really fast, the reason I can drop 5 pounds in a week if I choose to, is because we got a lot of muscle on us. Right? Muscle is the fat-burning engine all the time. It's why men in general can lose fat on their body faster than women. So for all you women out there that are like, I don't want to lift weights and I don't want to strength train, yes you do. I'm afraid you do. And for all of, we talked about this earlier in our workout, for all of you that think, well, I don't want to bulk up. We were joking about this earlier because we do. We have a lot of testosterone in our body and we lift really heavy weights and we're still not bulked up. So you guys are going to be okay. You're not going to get bulked up by accident, but you are going to burn. You are, and I stole that from him. He said that earlier. Just so you know. You guys are going to burn fat faster. You are going to stay stronger. And the most important aspect of that, you guys, is as you grow older, the one thing that's going to keep you standing upright and feeling better and stronger and more confident is your muscle. Right? It is your muscle. Now the final point I want to make, if you join this program, any other program, anything you decide to do, whatever it is that you decide to do, understand this. If you are calorically deficient, you will become more unhealthy from the routines and the workouts than you were before you started. You gotta eat. You gotta eat. So we know this for a fact. If you stop eating enough calories, your body will eat its muscle for energy. And then you're just going backwards. Does anybody know why the body does that? Show of hands, anybody know why? Does anybody know what the primary source of life for your brain is? Where does your brain get energy from? Where does it get energy from? What is the primary source? Does anybody know?
I'm guessing fat.
Yes. The only thing your brain knows it needs is itself. Because your brain tells your heart to pump. Your brain tells your lungs to function. Your brain doesn't care what your biceps look like. Your brain doesn't care what your six-pack looks like. Your brain, quite frankly, doesn't care if you can stand upright. As long as your heart and your lungs are still functioning, your brain is serving its purpose. Your brain is in survival mode all the time. It's why when you start to decrease your caloric intake, your body will eat its muscle first because your brain is protecting itself. It is encased in fat. And if it loses that, it dries up and you die. So that's why your body goes that direction, right? It's a survival mode. It's the right thing to do. Because you're way better off to be alive than you are to have your pecs go way down, right? So, very, very important that you guys, I cannot give you a more valuable lesson than that. If you do this program, which I hope you do, if you decide to do anything else, please decide to do something. Please decide to get fit, healthy, strong in some way or another. But remember this, you cannot get healthy by eating less food. You get healthy by eating less terrible, bad food. You don't get healthy by eating less food. One more thing, I lied, there's one more thing. There's one more thing, you guys, the results side of this, right? The results side of the shirt. I guarantee you will get results if you dedicate yourself to the program. We work out 4 times a week, okay? Transformations is 32 workouts over 8 weeks, that's 4 times a week. 3 nutrition seminars, so you get 32 workouts, 3 nutrition seminars, plus you get 3 assessments. You get a before assessment, a middle assessment, and end assessment. Where we're going to measure your body fat, we're going to give you 7 measurements from head to toe, we're going to measure all of that because we're going to keep each other accountable. If we get to the middle of it and you're not getting the results that you want, we're going to be able to tailor the workout for you and change some things to make sure you get to the results that you're looking for. Now, when we talk about results, there's a phrase that you guys have got to learn and know. It's called lifelong sustainable changes. Lifelong sustainable sacrifices, whichever word you want to use. Don't come into any program or anything else and make sacrifices that you are not willing to keep. If you do, your results will be short-lived. Okay? If you come in and you make sacrifices like, you know what, I'm not going to drink any more wine. Come on. If you really like wine, you know you're lying to yourself. I love wine and I love cheese plates. Love cheese plates. Not going to stop doing that. But it's what I do know, is what I do understand, and that you need to understand is coming into programs like this, is you guys need to know whatever sacrifices you do or don't make are going to determine the length of time it takes to get to your results. If you come into the program and you decide that for the rest of your life, for your lifelong sustainable sacrifices, you're going to stop drinking alcohol, you're going to remove all processed foods from your life, you're not going to eat any refined sugars, you're going to eat the perfect, every time you put a plate together for yourself, it's going to have a protein, it's going to have a starch, it's going to have a fat on it. It's going to have all the appropriate things on the plate in the right portions, and those are the sacrifices, things you're going to be able to maintain, which I know you're not going to be able to do that, but if you were, and you came in and you never missed a workout, and you did all these things, I guarantee you the results that you're looking for with. You could lose up to 50 or 60 pounds, probably not the best thing for you, but you could do it in 8 to 10 weeks, like that, if you did all those things. But let's be real. Let's be real with each other and say, okay, and I don't want to do all that. I don't want to stop drinking my wine. I want to have a glass of wine here and there. I want to have maybe 2 on the weekend. That's what I'm going to do. But be honest with yourself when you make those choices. That, hey, that means week 8, I might need to wait till week 9 to get to the results that I wanted. And if I'm still going to eat a donut, I'm going to have to wait till week 10. Right? Just be real with yourselves, you guys. The hardest part, I get this question all the time, the hardest part about transformations, what is it? It's getting to know yourself. I said this before we started, remember? It's getting to know yourself, your habits, and the things that you're going to do and not going to do, and being able to build your life and your routine around that. The hardest part is to accept that and then start to build your life and your routine around it. And then all of a sudden, your life and your routine start to be something that you want to do all the time, and fitness becomes a part of that. Rather than trying to change everything and fitness be your life, and then add little pieces into it that really, that's not you, right? This other part is you, and fitness needs to be added to that. Does that make sense? You guys agree? This young man over here was brought into the program a few months ago. We had another trainer doing the program, and he decided he wanted to move into really kind of high athletics sort of training. His name was Alejandro. Some of you know Alejandro. He moved into doing some more like really kind of high-level athletic stuff up on the edge. And we approached Chris and we said, hey Chris, you want to jump in and do transformations? Without batting an eye, he said, absolutely. He jumped in, and so he is the head guy. He is the one that is running the program on this property. We're very, very excited to have him doing that. He has been working very, very hard to put the program together. So I'm going to let him introduce himself.